The question that cracked this case wide open was almost impossible to believe. Could the mother of 16 children pulled from that Ohio house be pregnant again? Not years ago, not before the arrests, right now, while she sits in jail, while her children are in hospitals, foster placements and state custody. And when I went back through the timeline, the birth records, the officials' update and the court filings, one number kept getting darker. 16 children were found alive, but the story does not begin with 16, it may begin with 18. And now one report has raised a question no one was ready for, a possible 19th child. Welcome to Darkness Beneath Crimes. If you want true crime that goes deeper than the headlines, like this video and subscribe now, because this case is not just about one house in Ohio, it is about 16 children. It is how 16 children could exist for years, right under everybody's nose, and still remain almost invisible. On June 30th, 2026, investigators entered a home in Hohomer Street in Hamden, Ohio. They were not prepared for what was inside. 16 children, aged 18 months to 18 years old. Most of them had allegedly spent years inside a space officials described as a rough 12 feet by 12 feet. 12 by 12. That is not a home. That is not a bedroom for 16 children. That is a size small room. And inside that room, officials said there was human waste. There were children who could barely communicate. Some could not communicate at all. One child was 18 years old, and officials said she could not spell her own name at 18 years old. Old enough to legally be an adult, but treated by investigators as a minor because of the condition she was found in. That detail alone should stop everything, but it gets worse. 7 children were taken to hospitals. 2 were flown for emergency medical care. 1 was reportedly in critical condition. And Ohio Attorney General Andy Wilson said if investigators had waited another 24 hours, there was a very high possibility they would have been dealing with a death, or multiple deaths. 24 hours, just one day. That was a distance between a rescue and a possible mass tragedy. And this is where the case turns from horrifying to almost impossible, because law enforcement did not even know those children were there. Neighbours said they had no idea. The school district had no record of them being enrolled. Officials said the family had moved through multiple Ohio counties over the years, and investigators believe the family largely avoided creating the kind of records that make children visible to the outside world. No normal school trail, limited public footprint, a family moving from place to place, and 16 children disappearing in plain sight. So the question becomes simple. How does that happen? And the answer is not simple at all. 4 adults were arrested. 4 adults were arrested. Gary Siders Jr., Elizabeth Siders, Gary Siders Sr., and Christina Siders, the parents and the grandparents. All 4 were charged with 16 counts of child endangering, second-degree felony counts, 1 count for each child. 64 counts in total, and each one was tied to allegations involving serious physical harm. All 4 have pleaded not guilty. That matters, because in court they are presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty. But outside that house, the images and official descriptions were already enough to shake the entire county. The sheriff said livestock had been kept in better conditions. The Attorney General called it pure evil. And still, the most disturbing parts may not have been released yet, because the search warrant connected to the investigation has not been fully open to the public. The official reason investigators came to that house remains partly hidden. Authorities have said the discovery happened during an investigation into another matter. Court records also show Gary Siders Jr. had separate misdemeanors, indecent exposure charges tied to alleged incidents in May. But the full picture is still sealed. And when a case already begins with 16 children in a room, a sealed piece of the story becomes impossible to ignore. What were investigators originally looking for? What did they already know? And what did they find after they entered? That is the part of the story still waiting behind a locked door. Now we need to go back, not to June 30th, back to 2008. Elizabeth Siders was 15 years old when she married Gary Siders Jr. He was 18. The marriage happened in West Virginia. 2 months later, the oldest child was born. 2 months. That means the family timeline begins with a teenage girl, a legal adult husband, and a baby arriving almost immediately after the marriage. Then came pregnancy after pregnancy, year after year. AP reviewed birth certificates and reported the 16 children at the centre of the case were born in hospitals. They were multiple sets of twins, and the records showed something even more painful. A fourth set of twins, born in 2022. They did not survive. Their names were Faith and Bailey. They were born premature and they died hours after birth. So when people say there were 16 children, that is only the number found alive inside the house. A larger record points to 18 children, 16 living and 2 gone. And then came the report that made everything even heavier. Elizabeth Siders may be pregnant again. That has not been publicly confirmed by officials in the same way the criminal charges have been confirmed. So we have to say it carefully. Reported, not officially confirmed in the public record. But if that report is true, then the number changes again. Not 16, not 18, possibly 19. And that number changes the whole shape of the case, because now this is not just about what allegedly happened in the past. It is about what could be happening right now, inside a jail, inside a medical system, inside a court case that is still only the beginning. If Elizabeth is pregnant, the jail has a problem. If she is not, the rumour still shows how many unanswered questions surrounded this family. Either way, the case has already moved beyond the walls of that house. It has moved into hospitals, courtrooms, children's services, county budgets, birth records, marriage records. And the unanswered question of how many times the system came close to seeing this family, then somehow lost sight of them again. This is why you need to stay with Darkness Beneath Crimes. We are not chasing rumours, we are following the documented trail. Like the video now, subscribe and keep watching, because the next part is where the case stops. It stops looking like a family's secret and starts looking like a systems-wide failure. Vinton County is small, very small, and this case hit the county like an earthquake. 16 children removed at once, some with serious medical needs, some unable to speak normally, some needing placements, and some needing long-term care. This is not one emergency. That is 16 emergencies at the same time. And then there was Gary Siders Sr., a 73-year-old grandfather. He was initially held on a $300,000 bond like the others. Then he suffered medical issues. His attorney raised concerns about his health, mobility, mental condition and possible competency. The court modified his bond. He was moved for specialist care. If he leaves the hospital, he is expected to wear a GPS monitoring. Think about the contrast. 16 children removed from alleged squalor. A grandfather released from jail for medical care. 3 other defendants still facing massive bonds. And a county prosecutor asking for outside help because the case is simply too large. Highland County Prosecutor Anika Collins was appointed to assist. The Ohio Attorney General Office was also appointed to help. That does not happen because a case is ordinary. It happens because the case is too big, too sensitive, too expensive, and too legally dangerous for a small county to carry alone. And here is why that matters. A child endangerment case does not end with the arrest. It expands. Investigators interview children. They review medical records. They study birth records. They look for school records. They question neighbours. They examine financial support. They look at every adult who's had access. They ask who saw something, who reported something, who failed to report something, and who may have known more than they are saying now. The Ohio Attorney General's Office already said additional charges are expected as more information is uncovered. That means the 64 counts may not be the final number. They may be the opening number, the first layer, the beginning. And if the grand jury hears evidence that each child was endangered over multiple days, multiple years, or through multiple separate acts, prosecutors could seek more charges. That is why every new detail matters. The room matters, the hospital records matter, the school records matter, the sealed warrant matters, and the timeline matters most of all. Because 2008 to 2026 is not a short period of time. That is 18 years. 18 years of births. 18 years of moves. 18 years where children should have touched doctors, schools, agencies, neighbours, relatives and records. And still, when investigators arrived, people around the family said they did not know. One neighbour said he had not seen kids. Officials said the children had not been enrolled in the local school district. The children were reportedly hidden so effectively that the outside world barely knew they existed. That is not just neglect, that is disappearance. And disappearance takes time. It takes control, it takes silence, it takes isolation. Now Elizabeth's attorney has asked the public not to rush to judgment. He has said she was emotional, exhausted, and asked first about her children. Not about her bond, not about herself, her children. He has also said it may be too early to determine whether she could also be viewed as a victim in some way. AP reviewed birth certificates and reported the 16 children at the centre of the case were born in hospitals. They were multiple sets of twins, and the record showed something even more painful. A fourth set of twins, born in 2022. They did not survive. Their names were Faith and Bailey. They were born premature and they died hours after birth. So when people say there were 16 children, that is only the number found alive inside the house. A larger record points to 18 children, 16 living and 2 gone. And then came the report that made everything even heavier. Elizabeth Siders may be pregnant again. That has not been publicly confirmed by officials in the same way the criminal charges have been confirmed. So we have to say it carefully. Reported, not officially confirmed in the public record. But if that report is true, then the number changes again. Not 16, not 18, possibly 19. And that number changes the whole shape of the case, because now this is not just about what allegedly happened in the past, it is about what could be happening right now, inside a jail, inside a medical system, inside a court case that is still only the beginning. If Elizabeth is pregnant, the jail has a problem. If she is not, the rumour still shows how many unanswered questions surrounded this family. Either way, the case has already moved beyond the walls of that house. It has moved into hospitals, courtrooms, children's services, county budgets, birth records, marriage records. That is a hard idea for people to sit with, because the charges are severe, the allegations are horrific, the children are the victims at the centre of this case. But Elizabeth's own timeline raises difficult questions. She was 15 when she married. She had her first child almost immediately. She spent most of her adult life pregnant, parenting, isolated, and tied to the same family structure. Does that erase responsibility? No. Does it complicate the picture? Yes. And this case may force a courtroom to hold two truths at the same time. That children were allegedly harmed, and that one of the accused adults may have entered this family as a child herself. That does not make the case clearer, it makes it darker. Because if Elizabeth was shaped by isolation, who shaped it? Who controlled the house? Who controlled the children? Who controlled the money? Who controlled the movement? And who decided that 16 children would live the way officials say they lived? Those are the questions prosecutors now have to answer. Not online, not through rumour, in court, with evidence, with witnesses, with medical documentation, with records, with testimony. Because this is no longer just a story of a house. It is the story of every door that did not open soon enough. The children are now safe, according to the officials, but safe is not the same as healed. Safe is the first step. Healing is the mountain. Imagine being a teenager who never had a normal school day. Imagine being old enough to understand fear, but not old enough to developmentally to explain what happened. Imagine leaving the only environment you knew, even if that environment was dangerous. Imagine suddenly meeting doctors, caseworkers, foster families, investigators, and strangers with cameras outside the courtrooms. For these children, the rescue was not the end of the trauma, it was the beginning of being seen. And that is why the public has to be careful. No child faces, no names, no social media hunting, no turning their suffering into entertainment. The story can be told without exposing them again. The focus belongs on the adults, the system, the timeline, the evidence, the sealed warrant, the records that exist, and the records they do not. Because somewhere between the birth of the first child in 2008 and the rescue on June 30th, 2026, there were moments when someone may have been able to stop this sooner. A doctor, a relative, a neighbour, a public agency, a school system that never saw them. A county office that never connected the dots? Maybe the answer is that the family was skilled at hiding. Maybe the answer is that rural isolation made it easier. Maybe the answer is that the systems only work when children are visible, and these children were allegedly kept invisible for years. But if there is one thing this case proves, it is this: invisible does not mean non-existent. Those children were there, 16 of them, inside that house, inside that room, inside a silence that lasted far too long. Not the silence is broken. The adults are charged. The children are in care. The special prosecutors are in place. The grand jury process is ahead. Additional charges may come. And the question about another pregnancy still hangs over the case like a storm cloud. If Elizabeth Siders is pregnant again, then the case enters an entirely new phase. If she is not, then the fact that the rumour spread so quickly tells us something else. People believe there is still more hidden. More records, more children, more failures. More secrets behind that sealed warrant. And that is why this story is not over. It is only opening. 16 children were found. 18 births have been reported through records. A possible 19th child is now being questioned. 4 adults are charged. 1 grandfather is receiving medical care outside jail. A small county has asked for help. And a sealed investigation still holds the part of the story the public has not seen. So the final question is not just what happened inside that house. The final question is how long it was allowed to happen, and who should have known before June 30th, 2026. Darkness of Beneath Crimes will keep following this case as the court record develops. If you want the next update when the sealed details, grand jury action, or new charges emerge, subscribe now, hit the notification bell and leave a comment below. Which part do you think matters most? The 12x12 room, the 2008 marriage, the missing school trail, the possible pregnancy, or the sealed warrant? Because somewhere inside those questions is the truth, and we are not done looking for it.